Hey boys and girls, it's Miss Geok. I am here to teach you your writing lesson for today. This is day 3. Our learning target, what we want to be able to reach by the end of the lesson, is I can use a graphic organizer to plan my narrative. And we know a narrative is a story. You are going to have characters and a setting and action in your story. And then we're also going to be using a graphic organizer, this tool to help us plan out our story and organize our thoughts. So what I want you to do is I want you to find this packet if your teacher sent this home with you. If not, you can follow along on the screen, and I'm going to read to you the prompt. And the prompt is what we want to be able to do. Imagine that you are a marine biologist or a wildlife officer. I want you to pay attention to the word or. Yesterday I told you to choose one, so you're choosing which one you want to be. You are going to write a short story about an adventure you have during a day at work. So you are pretending to be one of those characters or one of those careers, and you are going to write about an adventure. Adventure means action, it means exciting during a day at work. So you're going to pretend that you are them and you're at work. So that's why we've been studying these interview passages. You're going to be using the interviews to help you understand what is a marine biologist like at work? What do they do? And then you're going to make a story about that. Or what does a wildlife officer do? What are some of the things that they're required to keep up with? And then write a story about an adventure. So something's exciting, something maybe scary is happening, and you're going to write about it. This checklist we have right here is to help us stay on track. We want to include a real or imagined experience, so it could be something that really happens, or you can make it up and it could, be imagined from your imagination. Include a situation that has a narrator and or characters. So who's going to be in your story? You're obviously going to be the biologist or the wildlife officer, but who else is going to be in your story? Are you going to have talking animals? Are you going to have people who are lost, people who need help? What is it that you're going to include? I want you to make sure you organize your events in order, and that's today's focus. We are going to be focusing on organizing our events by using words and phrases, sequencing our events, putting them in order. So today we're going to plan that out. We're going to make sure we're including dialogue, characters talking. We're going to have a conclusion. We're not going to leave any of our readers confused about how our story ends. We're going to make sure we have action and dialogue in our conclusion. So those are our main focuses today, planning out and organizing our events. You can always refer back to this checklist as you go to help you make sure you're on track. So like I mentioned earlier, organizers help you organize your thoughts. So I want you to draw this on your notebook paper. I want you to divide your paper, have a section for characters, have a section for setting, where the story takes place, and then have 3 sections, a beginning, a middle, and the end. Each story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. So go ahead, you can pause the video, and I want you to draw this on notebook paper. This is your task for today, is getting this organized. So your characters are who? Who are you going to include in your story? So if I were a marine biologist, I could type who I am and give yourself a name, whoever you want it to be. Maybe you are taking a group scuba diving and teaching them about the sea creatures that you've just discovered. Well, what would the setting be? Where would it take place and when? In the ocean in Florida. So you're just going to be writing this out, getting your thoughts organized. Now, in the beginning, we need our readers to understand where this is taking place and who's in the story. So you want to make sure as you're planning this out, you can just do little bullet points. You can do little lines just to get some thoughts down. What do you want to happen in the beginning? In the middle is where your big action is going to occur. So I want you to make sure you include action. What are your characters doing? And I want you to include dialogue. What are your characters saying? What are they saying to each other? Are people shouting? Are people yelling? Are people laughing? Are people questioning? What is it that they're doing? And then in the end, you want to make sure you wrap your story up so your readers have a sense of closure. They need to know that the story is over. And we've been working on narrative writing all year. You've written them in the beginning of the school year, and then we did a bunch of endings to other narratives, and so now you get to come up with your own imagined narrative. This page is a good page to help you remember to hook your reader. In the beginning of the story, you want your reader to be excited, so hook them and grab their attention. You can ask a question. Have you ever gone swimming into the deep ocean? You can do dialogue. I want to go swimming, he yelled. You can start describing the setting. The crisp blue water of the pool sparkled. You could do something funny. A belly flop is one way to do it, and then you go into your story. So these are all just some easy examples of some hooks that you could include. Pick one. Maybe you want to write something funny at the beginning of your story. Maybe you want your wildlife officer shouting at a group of people who are breaking the law. Whatever it is, you can choose one of these, and you can write it in the beginning. So write your hook in the beginning of your story. This is to help you remember quotation marks go around your dialogue. So we know in my class, I've been singing this with my students, quotation marks come two by two, use two before and then two when you're through. Enclosed are words said by another like clean this messy room, yelled mother. And we know that the quotation marks go around what mother yelled. So do not forget to include dialogue if you want to go ahead and plan out what they're saying, what the wildlife officer is saying. Hey, wait right there. And then he's done talking, yelled the officer. So go ahead and put in some things that you know you're going to want to say. So if you're writing from the perspective of a marine biologist, you're going to refer to this interview, an interview with the marine biologist, and then this graphic to help you remember some of the things that they do on their daily life. They do research, they teach others, and they do field work where they're in their field. Their field is the ocean. So you are writing a story pretending you're a marine biologist. Splash! I jumped into the deep ocean off the boat. Lower and lower I swam, deeper and deeper into the dark ocean. I had to use my headlamp to be able to see. As I started to swim around, I noticed a school of fish was following me. Then you can just continue your story. You want your readers to be engaged in what you're saying. If you are writing from the perspective of a wildlife officer, you're going to use an interview with the federal wildlife officer, and you're going to remember that a day in their job includes they patrol the forest, they provide hunter safety courses, they enforce conservation laws, and then they provide conservation education. So they're teaching people how to conserve and how to keep the state parks clean and make sure they stay around for a long time. So you could start off with, I was strolling through the dark forest and all of a sudden I heard a wolf howling behind me. I turned around to see what it was and off he ran. Get your readers hooked, get them excited to read your story. So this will be the perspective or the interview you will use to help plan your narrative. So just to review, you are independently planning your narrative today. You do not have to start writing it, but you're going to go ahead and start planning this. Who are the characters? Where is this story taking place? The beginning, the middle, and the end. I want you to include some action. What are some things that are going to be happening? I want you to include some dialogue. What are some things your characters are going to be saying? And then once you're finished with your organizer, follow your teacher's instructions for submitting work. If your teacher uses Seesaw, post it there. If not, you can email your work to your teacher. So under Seesaw, you will post a picture of your graphic organizer to Writing 318 in the Activities tab on Seesaw. If you do not use Seesaw, you may email your work to your teacher. All right, boys and girls, talk to you tomorrow.